Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. In this video, we'll be talking about one of the most popular immigration programs in Canada, the Canadian Experience Class, or CEC as we know. For those who don't know me, my name is Janaína Viana. You can also call me Jane. I am one of the regulated Canadian immigration consultants here at Visa, and I'm currently based in Toronto, Ontario. Okay? Before we dive in and talk about the eligibility criteria of the CEC, let's remember that the CEC is only one of 3 different programs or categories that make up the express entry system. And the eligibility criteria that we're going to be looking at today, it's not the same thing and is completely independent of the CRS system, which is the comprehensive ranking system that the express entry uses to rank and select candidates. Okay, before we dive in, let's briefly review how the express entry system works. So it's essentially a point-based system that the government of Canada uses to rank and select individuals that have submitted, as we say, an expression of interest, or as we popularly say it, created a profile. So once you create a profile, you join a pool of candidates and the system would allocate a specific score for you. This score is based on several factors, but most importantly we have work experience, education level, French or English proficiency levels, and age. So those 4 main factors would be the core bone really of the whole CRS system, as we say. In order to be able to submit an express entry profile, you need to first ensure that you are eligible for one of the 3 programs that we have. So we have the Canadian Experience Class that we're going to be exploring today. We have the Federal Skilled Trades program, which is more specific to trades professionals and also require that you have Canadian work experience, similarly to the Canadian Experience Class. And lastly, we have the Federal Skilled Worker, which is perhaps the more broad and more open category of the express entry system that doesn't really require you to have any Canadian work experience or any ties to Canada at all. So even if you've never been to Canada, you are able to create a profile, submit your expression of interest, and be invited to immigrate. If you're not in Canada but you would like to explore that particular program a little bit more, let us know in the comment section below, and I can bring it up on our next video. Now that we have a bit of a better understanding of how the express entry system works, let's dive into the eligibility criteria of the Canadian Experience Class. So the first, we'll be looking at 3 main factors here. The first, and perhaps the most important, is your Canadian work experience. So you do need to have at least 12 months of professional work experience acquired in Canada. That work experience needs to be either on NOX 0, A, or B, or if using the NOC 2021, that will be the equivalent of tiers 0, 1, 2, and 3. This work experience needs to have been acquired within the last 3 years on a valid visa, on a valid working visa. And by valid work visa, we can include post-graduation work permits, spousal open work permits, working holiday visas, LMIA-based work permits, global talent stream work permits, and even LMIA exempt work permits, in case you're under any of those. In terms of hours, we're looking at no more than 30 hours a week. That will be full-time. Anywhere less than that will be considered part-time, and so you have to accumulate the equivalent of that in part-time if you're counting less than 30 hours a week. So that comes down to a total of 1,560 hours over the course of at least 12 months of work experience. Now, situations that would not qualify for this particular program would include self-employment in Canada, refugee claimants. So if you made a refugee claim and you have a work permit, unfortunately, any work that you acquire there would not be used. Work experience acquired while you are studying. So if you're a full-time student, you are able to work 20 hours a week, but you cannot use that work experience towards an immigration program like the Canadian Experience Class. Although you can do that in certain provincial nominee programs, but not for this one, so attention there. And of course, any work that was acquired without proper work authorization, right? A work visa, work permit. The second factor is your education level. So in fact, the CEC would not require that you have any particular education level, but the reality is that your education level greatly impacts your overall points, right? So for the express entry point system, your educational level is very important. That's why we decided to mention it here. So for those who study in Canada, that's pretty straightforward. You do get an additional 15 or 30 points for if you graduated from an institution in Canada. If you were coming from abroad, if you have graduated from a university that is not in Canada, you would be required to do what we call an academic credential evaluation, right? So essentially there's a handful of organizations, they are designated by IRCC to provide this type of evaluation, and they'll have to issue a report indicating that your credentials from back home are equivalent to similar credentials in Canada. You would need this academic credential evaluation report before you're able to launch your profile or submit your expression of interest under the express entry system. The final factor is language. So here in Canada, we have both English and French as official languages, and we have for each language 2 exams that are acceptable for this purpose. So you will need to take an English or French exam before you submit your expression of interest for the express entry system, and we'll take a closer look at them. So for English, we have the CELPIP, which is created in Canada and is actually designed for this particular purpose, is usually my recommendation. And we also have the IELTS, which is an international exam. It's available in many countries outside Canada. Okay, for French, we have the TCF Canada and the TEF Canada. Attention here that we're talking about the Canada version, not the Quebec version. For both, for all of those languages exams, note that we're looking at the general training, not the academic version either. Okay, to standardize all those different exams, IRCC uses a table known as Canadian Language Benchmark, or CLB. So if you want to identify, if you want to learn what's the CLB that you need in order to get a specific number of points, you can look up that table online and you find exactly what bands or scores that you need to achieve on a given language exam in order to achieve that CLB. Okay, note that each ability it's assessed individually. So your score in reading, speaking, writing, and listening, they both need to match the needed CLB in order for that particular exam to be valid. Okay, so in terms of minimum language requirements, when we look at the Canadian Experience class, it will depend on your NOC level. So if your work experience falls under NOC 0 or A, then the minimum requirement would be CLB 7, which is equivalent to 6 on the IELTS exam and equivalent to 7 on the CELPIP exam. The French exam is a little trickier, so I'm not going to mention it here, but if you're looking to take the French exam, definitely take a look at the table first. Okay. And for those who are claiming work experience under NOC B, then the minimum requirement is a CLB 5. Now, note that the minimum requirements, it's just a matter of eligibility, right? Now, the higher your CLB level, the higher the points that you get for language proficiency. So it's definitely important to aim higher than the minimum. I would say that satisfactory CLB level for most candidates would be a 9. So if you're able to achieve CLB 9 in either of those exams that we mentioned here, then you most likely are a good candidate. In terms of eligibility, those are the factors to consider, but keep in mind that being eligible doesn't necessarily mean being competitive. So it's important that you certify yourself of your eligibility, but keep an eye open for your overall CRS, because that's the score that would actually eventually take you out of the express entry pool of candidates and invite you to apply for permanent residency. So let's take a look at a couple of factors that can and will certainly impact your overall CRS, but are not so relevant when we talk about eligibility itself. Okay, so we'll see elements such as having a job offer in Canada, or having work experience from abroad, from outside Canada, having siblings in Canada, or bilingualism. If you speak both English and French, that's going to make your profile stand out a lot on the pool of candidates. So it's a great way to stand out and really increase your points is learning French as a second or third language. We have education level, right? So nowadays we notice that most competitive candidates under the express entry system would already have either a master's or a postgrad degree or a bachelor's degree at a minimum, right? And lastly, we have age. So age is a relevant factor when we talk about express entry. There's no way around it. So candidates, they are between 20 and 29 are maximizing their points for age, and after 30 you start to lose 5 points per year of age. After 40 you're losing 10 points per year of age. So if you're looking to immigrate to Canada, if you're exploring options, better start earlier, right? The sooner the better. That's it for now. If you are interested on exploring a little bit deeper the actual CRS system and the express entry points system, do let us know in the comments below. I'm happy to do our next video on that topic for you. Or if you want to explore the other two categories under the express entry, namely the federal skilled trades or the federal skilled worker, do let us know as well, because I'll be happy to do videos on those programs as well. Now, if you are here in Canada working, we're getting close to accumulating your 12 months of work experience, and you like to start preparing and getting ready to apply for immigration, please feel free to reach out. I'm going to leave your information below in the description. The best place to start would be scheduling an immigration consultation. We'll look at your options, we do the points calculation together, and we will be able to let you know how close or what improvements can you do to optimize your overall CRS. Well, I hope you enjoyed all this information that we delivered here today. The e-Visa Group specializes in all steps of your immigration plan to Canada, including education, visas, immigration processes, and career consultations as well. Okay, so if you found this information useful, don't forget to share with your friends or family. Leave us a comment below with questions or suggestions. We'll be happy to look over those as well. And don't forget to subscribe so you'll be notified every time we post new content here. Okay, I hope to see you next time, and bye bye.